Good morning, good afternoon. Today is about dropping into the heart, and I chose heart chakra tones today, which are new. Dropping in. Like our collective arriving in the heart space as our set point. Very osteopathic concept. Gradually making our way to living from the heart. And of course, with grounding, as I just felt the line go down through the umbilicus and the solar plexus. Dropping in. I just noticed crown chakra connecting to central channel, midline. I feel heart more than throat. I feel solar plexus power center. The energy of lower collective energy moving down. We connect here to the earth and one another in this really substantive way, putting down roots, but also entwining our roots like a kelp forest, like a redwood forest or a forest of aspen. In this literal web of interconnectivity. And of course, we're also in connection with non-human life. The entire planet teeming with life, of which we are one part, on our way through our hearts to being honorable in relation to our roommates here on the earth. And we have a bit of wounding to walk through for not having really cared for ourselves and other living things. Part of this landing in the heart is holding all of those painful layers with compassion and forgiveness, particularly of self. So as you sense your presence in your heart space, perhaps you can imagine your mind radiating first from the heart. Perhaps you can sense breath in the heart space. Perhaps you can simply arrive as a presence of awareness in your heart. A little bit more. Noticing resistances, Are there material resistances? Are there emotional resistances? Are there energetic or light-based resistances? What is your heart revealing to you about the fertile ground of your heart space? And how it's responding to you arriving closer by or attempting to. Do you notice parts of you waking up as you arrive in or imagine arriving in, sensorially arriving in your heart? What do you sense about your grounding? I feel almost as though once the heart activates, there's this powerful downward flow, seeking communion, connection, and a dropping of heaviness, resistance, anything that does not serve you as you widen your perceptual gaze and take in all the parts. Breathing open to sense your entire field. Noticing any blank areas that perhaps we have unconsciously chosen to exclude. Places we forgot to feel. Presence we forgot to occupy. Feel the beautiful arriving of our awareness collectively above. I feel presence emerging behind, particularly the neck and the head. It feels very relevant to the mind discharging and the awareness or consciousness dropping further down. I'm seeing a bit of a dance, presence consciousness spiraling downward, seeking the heart space. This energy of the mind moving down. There's a gentle inviting with so much love and approval for our brilliant minds, how they've served us, done their best. We've done our best. You might notice also presence and mind shifting back to the center as part of the descent. Our presence moving more toward midline, toward the intersection of the crown and the third eye. There we go. And the circuit of flow between all the energy centers and the earth beginning to emerge in wholeness and integrity and potency, and having arrived in this space, a subtle softness, like a sigh or an exhale, coming through to nourish every cell. I feel it in the fascia. The whole fascial sleeve resuscitating. Almost feels like the whole physical body is like a myelin sheath of protection and sturdiness for our presence in our hearts, remaining intact and in connection with the earth and the higher realm, continually being replenished with vital energy, inspiration, abundant compassion for ourselves and others. Arriving in this new, more full body. Breath of both the material and the subtle energetic, coupling, coming into synchrony, and beginning to increase the life force circulation, hydrating, expanding, filling, brightening all the dry places, every cell, connecting every cell. Setting the glorious God-given behavior of healing, grounding, clearing, expanding and elevating into motion, organized, referenced, and stabilized by the heart space. You might notice current or wave form, something that feels like fluid or fluid in the fluid, the osteopathic term for vital energy, consciousness beginning to circulate through your body, tending to those drier places with a little bit more intensity. Sometimes as those drier places begin to wake up, there's a little bit of the discomfort of thawing, as in when you awaken tissues from frostbite or from a limb falling asleep. The temporary, transient awkwardness of sensation I have some now in the soles of my feet and my ankles. Much appreciated hydrating of my physical self. Noticing without trying. No trying. If you're not so practiced in sensing nuance in the body, the less you try, the more will come in time. We simply breathe, become curious about, and wait for, perhaps pray for, perhaps express willingness and gratitude toward Source, Spirit, God. Patient in our evolving ability to open and receive love at this next level. Our culture trains us to block love. Our culture trains us toward fear. And when we're in fear, we're blocked from love. That is beautiful, and God also. We broaden. Bring compassion to the part of ourselves that remained unconscious for a time. as well as all of those that contributed unknowingly to the compression of human experience in a body going back hundreds of years, if not thousands. Shifting back to our original perfection. We're inherently deserving of the highest love. The part where our minds got disconnected from our hearts and forgot. Gently welcoming the mind and the ego further back into the center of the body, in connection with the central channel, midline, vertical current that connects us infinitely above and infinitely below. Union with the infinite. And then allowing the ego structure into the heart space where it is welcomed with infinite, unconditional love. Into the heart space where we join as one being, as one consciousness. We are always connected and belonging, completely and unconditionally at all times. And we forget. How is this being, this body, hydrating, receiving yourself? How is your physical body receiving your spirit and consciousness? Some of our soils are drier than others for reasons that may have nothing to do with you. So much of where we begin and land in this lifetime is inherited from our ancestors. Sometimes many, many layers. Breathing broader, sensing wider, heart expanding even more to include all of those in the nourishing embrace of infinite love. The infinite love that we are, the infinite love that is all that is. quality, a brightness and a softness, effortlessly and with grace, as if they're receiving a gentle wash of ease, intense power being received by our systems effortlessly and with grace, as if they're receiving at the highest level or the most natural thing we came here to do. And sensing very global breath. A collective breath that is creating less distinction between each individual. Here we are back to the metaphor of all of the beings connected, interconnected, intersupportive. This web of roots exchanging nutrients like some trees. I learned that cherry trees collectively send nutrients to the tree that needs it the most. Tending to the needs of each individual as a means of serving the whole. Currents coming through the crown. The brightness, golden color, or texture. A purpose and intention. An excitement. So beautifully nourishing and healing for the source of the gift that you receive, the gift. It's a beautiful place to begin. Ah, there we go. Yeah. To the layers that the healing forces were tending to when that last cycle or layer of responses unfolded, I noticed a few things. I noticed, today from the inside moving out, my breastplate felt a little dense. There was an awareness of, the density I'm more accustomed to sensing behind the heart, in the spine, in the larger weight-bearing structures. Just noticed that. You can sense it much less now. And my hand came up spontaneously and beginning to tension or stir or smooth or polish the heart center. And I'm sensing into where I notice the therapeutic forces, the healing forces, the energies attend almost like, this is the dry place I can be of the highest service. It's not necessarily the driest place. It is the frequency or density or matching resonance of the frequencies present. Noticing how beautifully the healing forces know exactly where to go. The infinite intelligence and wisdom of our bodies individually, and then even more potently when joined in resonant connection. And then as each one of these somewhat quieter, drier layers begins to catch up and integrate or blend with the places where the breath, the movement of air, and the movement of life force is more fully expressed. Breath in that larger sense of the coupling of the life force breath, the primary breath, and the mechanical breath, the secondary breath. And I even just saw the cellular breath, which requires both. Any meaningful breath, truly potent divine breath, comes through us through a union of all of those layers. The coupling of the breaths, an expression of consciousness itself, of oneness, of healing, and of union with our divine nature. In osteopathy, we call arriving in this steady state a neutral. I have a sense of still point radiating from the heart. I have a sense of a gradual migration underway, the mind more firmly rooted in the heart. It's almost as though The consciousness of heart presence is a ball of light, ever so slightly new and unfamiliar. A sense of this collective ball of light nestling, finding its comfort resting in the hammock of the heart. Willingness, ability to be held the way a newborn rests so effortlessly into the embrace of its loving parent. You may feel spontaneous desire to move or undulate or circulate or spiral or wave your body. There's more of this buoyancy, fluidity begins to soften and shift your material self back to its fluid origins. We are, after all, more light than solid, as in we are not solid. You might notice fleeting sensations from your body as it continues to be thawed, resuscitated, and hydrated from this beautiful, effortless, generous, loving, collective breath. Anchored in the heart, connected to the ground, connected to the higher realm, and perpetual. This is where we live. Moving forward from this day, we embody more memory, awareness, and reception to the entirety of our native breath and our connection to the infinite healing, love, and connection. This place we call home. Namaste.